Dave is with us in Orlando, Florida. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Well, I think better than I deserve.
Good. Good. How can I
Hey,
help?
well, Dave, are you in a good mood today?
I'm working on it. Merry
Are you?
Christmas. What's up?
Oh, Merry Christmas. Well, I'm about to ruin it for you. I'm going to get on one of your favorite topics. My father-in-law died about 7 years ago, and I've been doing the debt snowball and everything. I'm getting there. I'm getting close to the debt-free zone. And lo and behold, we got a Christmas card in the mail this past week of a lawsuit from a timeshare company. They want my wife and her heirs to pay $6,000 in back dues, fees, and assessments for a timeshare that used to belong to my deceased father-in-law that nobody in this family has used, cares anything about, or wants ever since he passed away. What do we do about that?
Was there an estate with assets?
There is an estate with assets, and the assets are held in trust. There was a living will or a living trust that was done, and my wife is the trustee along with my
But they
father-in-law
sued
who
you
passed.
personally.
They sued them personally, yes. All three of the siblings of his siblings have all three been sued personally.
Did they receive assets from something other than the trust? Were there assets outside the trust?
No, nothing has come to them outside of the trust. Not
What's
a
the
thing.
size of the estate?
The estate holds nothing in it any longer but the home.
What was how much was in the trust originally?
And the trust originally was a home and a rental property. The rental property was sold for about $160,000 last year and used to pay off a second mortgage. It was on the main home, and then there was $10, and
Okay.
that's what was in the estate completely.
Okay. Here's why I'm asking. All right. When you die, what you own stands good for what you owe.
Okay.
And so let's just pretend there was no trust involved and they had benefited from this and had not paid off the timeshare and not paid the timeshare fees, then technically under contract law, you'd probably lose the lawsuit. In this case, the estate is all in a trust, so it is all probably protected from them. You're certainly not personally liable unless you personally received assets from the estate, which you did not. You received assets from the trust.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I'm
there's
not
been
an
no assets
I'm not
from
an
the estate.
attorney, but when you talk to one, that's what they're going to tell you.
So how does the fee simple thing work? How can timeshares just say you own this fee simple in perpetuity?
No,
forever?
you don't. Your wife didn't, but her father
Right.
did.
Right.
Okay, and her father had a contract with them, and that contract has to be paid off during the estate being closed out. However, this estate had no assets in it except a trust, all of which is protected from other debtors. So let's say that there was a credit card debt.
Right.
Okay. Normally, if you sold the house off and it was not in a trust, you'd have to do that. But the trust is not liable for that credit card debt
Right.
because it's not the same entity as her father. So anyway, technical details, but you need to talk to an attorney. Obviously, which company is this?
I don't know what company it is. It's a timeshare here in Florida, up in Central Florida.
Yeah, the lawsuit didn't have a company name on it.
It has an attorney that's representing this particular timeshare.
Yeah, usually
It's not like an RCI or something like that. It's an individual timeshare unit.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I would get an
I don't-
attorney and I would beat the snot out of these scumburgers.
Yeah.
Is what
I thought that you'd enjoy it because they're
Yeah.
some of the most upstanding and honest people in the world of timeshare.
Yeah,
the guys
they're
that run
just
these
absolute crooks. I mean, the business is just a horrible business,
Yeah.
and you should just stay away from it. But here's the thing: your wife. Here's what you need to separate in your mind. Your wife is not personally liable for any of her father's debts, including a debt to a timeshare company.
All right.
What is liable is the estate, and the
Right.
only question is whether or not. So if your wife took and her sisters took $20,000 or $30,000 out of a CD that was in his name and not in a trust,
Sure.
and didn't pay his bills,
Yeah.
the credit card company that you didn't pay could come after them.
I understand
And
that.
that's the premise they're using to come after you. What they're not apparently informed of is the fact that the estate didn't have any assets.
Yeah. They're suing for foreclosure.
Yeah. Oh,
On
we
the-
would love for them to foreclose.
Yeah, well, they're trying to foreclose on my wife and her and my
Yeah,
brother-in-law.
but they can't
and her
foreclose on them
sister.
because they don't own it.
Right. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to foreclose on them in this suit.
Yeah, they don't own it. You can't foreclose on me if I don't own it. You could
Right.
you could sue me for foreclosure on that timeshare. I don't own it.
Right. And that was what my question to you was.
Yeah.
And how can they sue them
I'm
for
I'm
foreclosure
afraid. Well, I
when
mean,
her
you could
dead
sue
father owned
anybody
it?
for anything. You could just make up crap and file lawsuits.
Yeah.
It's happened to me. I mean, you can just make up stuff and just lie,
Yeah.
and basically that's what the timeshare company's doing here. They're just trying to collect on something because they smelled that this estate's got some money in it and they didn't get paid,
Right.
and
Okay.
that's what they're coming after. And so it just depends on how much money you want to spend on principal on this, but you're probably going to drop 10 grand
Yeah.
to go punch them in the nose. And
Yeah.
that's what it's going to take. And if you need some help with this, there's an attorney that comes on here periodically that hates the timeshare business as much as I do, and he beats them up all the time for a living. His name is Scott Montgomery in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
Write that down and call Scott and tell him what's going on. He can probably make an example out of these boys. He's pretty tough and he knows his stuff. He's sharp. He comes on the air here with me to comment on the scum burgers in the timeshare business all the time. Scott Montgomery, Springfield, Missouri. There's timeshare attorneys all over America that fight the timeshare companies.
Sure.
But he's one that I just know of right off the top of my head that you could get a hold of. And you're going to have somebody defend you or countersue.
Right.
As your defense mechanism. And
Sure.
the other thing you could do is you could file all kinds of complaints there in Florida
Right.
with the state government, the Commerce Department and other things for a false lawsuit. And I would light them up personally, but it just depends on how much hassle and what you want to go through. You may be able to write them a check for $5,000 and they go away, but I don't know. That probably is the more expedient thing to do, but you're dealing with scum, and it just gets your blood boiling and makes you want to spend $25,000 to make sure they get nothing. I mean, I've spent millions of dollars on these things to make sure that people get nothing, and I'll continue to do it just because I'm that guy and I need a hobby, But some people don't want to fool with all that stuff, and it is a pain in the butt. I'll tell you that. So, but you do want to. You have to stand up sometimes and just say, "That's it. I'm done. I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not going to be lied about, cheated, stolen from, and not call it." So you decide which hill you want to fight on, because you're going to fight on one someday. Hey, good question, man. We appreciate you joining us. Open phones this hour. This is the Ramsey Show, and that's just one more instance of how scummy the timeshare business is. Don't go in the tiger cage. Don't go in the tiger cage. Don't go in there for the free dinner, the free passes to Wally World, the free night stay at the resort, and then get pressured by some half-butt guy who couldn't get a job cleaning out septic tanks, which is actually honorable business. And all of a sudden you own yourself a timeshare. Oh, and then you die with some money in your estate in trust, and your kids get sued by your timeshare company. What a blessed group of people they are. Unbelievable. Stay away from this industry, folks. It's nasty bad.